What if I told you one of the most beloved vehicles in California history was a yellow loaf of bread with a horn that went toot toot, and a driver who walked beside it like a dog on a leash? Ladies and gentlemen, and my friend Timmy, pull up a chair, pour yourself a coffee, or if you're Timmy, whatever's in that suspicious-looking thermos, because today we're rolling back the years to a time when your daily bread came to your door in a vehicle that looked like a loaf with headlights. That's right, we're talking about the legendary twin-coach Helms bakery delivery truck, a rolling icon of California suburbia, back when the biggest danger to your waistline was a fresh Danish at 7 a.m., not another round of internet health tips from my neighbor Bob, who thinks you can cure everything with essential oils and tinfoil hats. And just before we jump in, let me give a crusty, heartfelt thank you to the wonderful sponsors of this channel, because if it weren't for their support, Timmy would be outside right now selling slightly burnt toast from a folding table, and I'd have to moonlight as a bread mascot at the local mall. Seriously, thanks to our sponsors, we can keep the cameras rolling and make sure Timmy stays at least 10 feet from any open microphone. We appreciate you. Let's roll into the golden age of bread, shall we? The story starts in the heart of the Great Depression, 1931. Culver City, California. Paul Helms, the man who probably baked bread with one hand and juggled business plans with the other, launched Helms Bakery. He did something radical, refused to sell his bread in stores. Instead, he brought it straight to your door, because nothing says fresh like carbs delivered before you even have time to put on pants. Now, Helms wasn't just about bread. He was about making an entrance. And that's where the Twin Coach Motor Company of Kent, Ohio comes in. Twin Coach was run by Frank and William Fedjall, two brothers who, I believe, spent as much time tinkering with vehicles as Timmy does with his fishing stories. They were famous for making twin-engined buses, but when it came to bread delivery, one engine would do, just with a little extra style. In 1931, Helms Bakery commissioned 148 of these stand-up, cab-over-engine bread trucks. The Helmsman, yes, the drivers had an official title, which is still one up on Bob, who calls himself Supreme Leader of the Neighborhood Watch, would cruise suburban streets, tooting a cheerful whistle to announce the arrival of pastries. If you wanted to stop, you'd flash an H card in your window, because in those days, "Hey, bread guy," was considered a little too casual. What set the Twin Coach apart, besides the fact that it looked like a bread roll on wheels, was the driving position. Instead of sitting like a regular truck, the driver could stand or perch on a bicycle-style fold-away seat. They patented a stand-drive clutch and brake system. Step on the pedal and you're moving. Keep pressing and you're stopping. This left the driver with enough time to grab a coffee. Let's talk technicals, because I know half of you are here for nostalgia, and the other half want to know if you could race this thing against your neighbor's golf cart. Tucked right beneath your feet, not out front, sat a Hercules L-head inline-4 engine, 199 big inches, that's 3.3 liters, pushing out about 37.5 horsepower, enough to outrun a motivated Dachshund, and on a good day, maybe Timmy jogging for last call. Power was delivered to the rear wheels through a 3-speed Brown Lipe manual transmission. The stand-and-drive system meant drivers could walk their truck from house to house in extra-low first gear, which, frankly, is also how I move on Mondays. Top speed, let's call it, as fast as you can go without spilling the donuts, roughly 35 to 40 miles per hour, about 56 to 64 kilometers per hour. Fuel economy? If you're asking about miles per gallon, you probably also count your bread slices. Figure somewhere around 10 to 12 miles per gallon. About 20 liters per 100 kilometers. Let's face it, nobody was hypermiling in a Helms truck, but you did get fresh bread, and that's what really matters. This wasn't your average tin can either. The chassis was integrated with the body, riding on 18-inch spoke wheels with leaf springs over solid axles, which is only slightly less primitive than the springs in my first apartment's couch. The trucks measured about 14 feet 4 inches long, or 437 centimeters, on a 7 feet 11 inches, 241 centimeters wheelbase. The interior featured custom wood cabinetry with glass front drawers, perfect for displaying everything from bread loaves to Timmy's special brownies. The low wooden floor made for easy loading, ideal for quick getaways from ferocious chihuahuas and grumpy old ladies who hadn't had their coffee yet. Braking was via four-wheel hydraulic drum brakes, and many restored models have a 12-volt electrical upgrade. Now, the production numbers. 148 units built for Helms, with just a handful more for other dairies and bakeries. Most were used and abused until they fell apart or got scrapped, much like my neighbor Bob's dreams of running for mayor. Today, only a handful survive, and most of those have been lovingly restored, sometimes even better than new, just to make sure they still draw a crowd at parades and car shows. What truly made the twin-coach Helms truck unique wasn't just the engineering, it was the whole experience. The signature toot-toot horn, the Olympic slogans, choice of Olympic champions, the daily at-your-door livery. One truck even sported a first and finest on the moon decal, since Helms Bakery provided bread for Apollo 11. There was even a throttle idle lever in the cab to keep the engine running at high idle between stops. No stop-start systems here, just old-fashioned mechanical genius. In the collector market, these trucks are hotter than fresh cinnamon rolls. Original prices are lost to history, but a typical 1930s bread truck might have cost $1,000 to $2,000. That's about $20,000 to $40,000 today, give or take a politician's salary. As for auctions, restored Helms Bakery trucks have brought in jaw-dropping sums. $102,888 in 2021, $98,000 in 2024, and a record $246,400 in 2022 at RM Sotheby's Monterey. But honestly, if there's something to admire about the twin-coach Helms Bakery truck, and there is, it's the way it brought a community together. Kids running to the curb for pastries, parents sneaking an extra donut, neighbors waving to the helmsman like he was Santa Claus in suspenders. Even today, these trucks are nostalgia on wheels, a reminder that sometimes the simplest things leave the sweetest memories. So if you ever spot one of these rolling bread loaves at a parade or museum, give it a nod. Because in a world obsessed with speed, luxury, and whatever Bob is building in his garage, it's nice to remember a time when the only thing you had to worry about was whether Timmy ate the last cinnamon roll. Smash that subscribe button, drop your best bakery truck memory in the comments, and as always, may your coffee be strong, your neighbors be less weird than Bob, and your bread always be delivered on time.